19mm socket. Let's go ahead and remove the lug nuts. Go ahead and grab the wheel, remove it, and set it aside. We're going to use a 14mm wrench or ratchet, and we're going to go ahead and loosen this upper caliper slide bolt. And come down to the lower one on our caliper slide pin bolt, and we're going to remove that one. I'm just holding the inboard part of the slider right here from spinning while I remove this bolt. Go ahead and set that bolt aside. We're now going to take this brake caliper. We're going to pivot this up. We're going to pull out our brake pads, and we're going to set these brake pads aside. We're going to bring the caliper back down into position. And we're going to temporarily reinstall the bolt loosely. Our emergency brake cable, the activating unit needs to be compressed in so we can remove the emergency brake cable from the mechanism here. The reason why we remove the brake pads is that when this activates, it compresses the brake pads. This is going to allow us to have some flexibility to make this a little bit easier to loosen the cable. Using our pliers, we're going to pinch this in, pull the cable housing out of the back. We're going to go ahead and use our pry tool. Just pop our cable out like so. Pull that up to the side. Then we can take our emergency brake cable and just pull that out like so. What we're going to do is go ahead and remove this here. Now brake fluid is going to come out. You want to make sure you have a catch can or some drip rags or something underneath to catch the brake fluid. That is going to come out. Now on the back side of this bolt here, there's going to be a washer. I'm going to go ahead and pick that washer off. It's going to be one up against the bolt, and then there's going to be one on the other side. So we're going to put this on, new copper washer, and take our brake line off there. Should be clean on both sides. I'm going to put the bolt through. I'm going to take our new caliper, get that ready to go. Put our washer on here, so there should be one copper washer on each side of this block. I'm going to line that up and thread this on. Once you have that cut, I'm going to go ahead and zip that down. With that snug, go ahead and use a caliper tool, hang that up out of the way. Now on the back side here, we're going to go to this ABS sensor. We're going to lift up on this little clip and wiggle this off. This is going to allow us to get to the bottom caliper bracket bolt a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this bolt. And we're going to remove this bolt completely. Now, there's one other bolt up above we will be loosening and removing as well. Now when this bolt comes out, we will be removing the caliper bracket and the brake caliper as one unit. So you want to hold on to these pieces. The brake caliper will still have brake fluid in it, so be sure once you remove it that you put it into your catch can and allow that to drain out the rest of the way. And we now have separation. Now we have our new caliper here, or a caliper bracket, and we have our slide pins. We do want to double check these here. We're going to pop the rubber boot off and pull this out. And we do like to inspect this here, make sure that there is a sufficient amount of grease on there. You can see this has a little bit, but not a lot. We're just going to put a light coating on here. A little bit more than what it had. We'll go ahead and pop the boot back on. And then reinstall. And we're going to repeat it for this one here. Had a little bit more than the other side, you can see that. Go ahead and slide that on in there. Pop that on. Onto our shims here. I'm going to put a little bit of grease here and here. Let's go ahead and install these units. Press those down into place and repeat for the other side. Let's go ahead and install our caliper bracket here. Work this around our rotor. We're going to put our upper bolt in first. I'm going to line this up. Now we did clean the threads and put some thread locker on there. Let's go ahead and get this bolt started, a few threads. And once that's started, we'll repeat for the lower bolt. And once we have that caught a few threads, we're going to go ahead and snug those down. I'm going to torque these bolts to 94 foot-pounds. Once we have those torqued, you can now go ahead and grab your ABS wire. We're going to feed that up. I'm going to go ahead and feed our ABS wire up, line that up. Press it in until you hit a little connector lock in. Now we're going to line up the caliper itself, and we're going to install our two bolts loosely, just a few threads. And next we're going to install our emergency brake cable into the mechanical unit right here. Now I'm going to take our e-brake cable, feed that down into here like so. We're going to pull this around the back side underneath. Once you have the cable in the forward latch, you can pull this unit back, slip it in like so. Now we're going to come to our lower caliper bolt right here. We want to go ahead and loosen this one. Let's go ahead and remove that. Now what we're going to do is swing our caliper up and grab your inboard brake pad. I'm going to line this up, install the inboard pad. We're going to install the outboard pad, and then we're going to lower the caliper back down into place. Install our lower bolt, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. All right, go ahead and snug these down. Just going to grab our inner slider right here, keep it from spinning, and we'll torque this down to 25 foot-pounds, and repeat for the upper. Now we're going to open up our bleeder screw. This should allow brake fluid to come through the line, fill up the behind the piston, and dribble out some fluid here. Now that we have the brake fluid coming out, we're going to go ahead and snug up our bleeder here. Go ahead and wipe that down. Pop our cap back on. Now what you want to do is go ahead and check the fluid under the hood. Then we'll go ahead and start up the vehicle, pump up the brakes. We'll double check the fluid under the hood, and we'll be all set. And then go ahead and install the wheel. And get our lug nut started by hand, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. I'm going to go ahead and torque down the wheel to 103 foot-pounds.